Thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to Behind the Rose, the podcast of the Bluesician. I'm Reverend Ken Blanchard, and this week I want to talk about why some guitarists aren't kind to new players and what that tells us about ourselves. This is reflections of a 2-year guitar journey. There's a quiet truth floating around jam sessions, open mics, and guitar circles that nobody really wants to say out loud. Some guitarists aren't very kind to new or unknown players. And when you're only 2 years into playing, still learning, still growing, still discovering your voice, that coldness hits even harder. But after 2 years of guitar and decades of life, leadership, ministry, and service, I've learned something surprising. The way musicians treat new players says more about them than it ever says about you. So let's talk about what's really going on here. The guitar culture is full of insecurity, basically. The guitar is one of the few instruments where people tie their identity to their skill. Tone, speed, gear, technique, it all becomes a scorecard. So when a new guitarist walks in, especially one who carries soul, presence, or life experience, it can shake the fragile ones. And the response isn't confidence. It's dismissiveness, it's cold shoulders, it's sarcasm, it's gatekeeping. I realize it's not about my 2 years of playing. It's about their fear of being overshadowed. Many guitarists confuse competition with community. Some folks walk into a room ready to win and not connect. They treat music like a contest instead of a conversation. But the real ones, and luckily I've met a few now, the seasoned, soulful, generous players often lift others up. They remember what it felt like to be new. They remember the first time someone believed in them. I've learned that people repeat the culture they were raised in. If somebody came into a harsh, ego-driven jam session, they often repeat the cycle. They think toughness equals excellence. I've seen this in dojos and boxing gyms too. They think coldness equals credibility. But music was never meant to be a hazing ritual. Most folks don't know my story. That's why I'm podcasting and making blogs too. So if you are a new guitarist, a new musician, I'm hoping that something I said here registers with you. You see, when someone sees a newer guitarist, they often assume inexperience equals insignificance. But what they don't see is the life behind the hands. They don't know, for me, the decades of service, the leadership, the ministry, the discipline, the lived wisdom, the stories you can carry into every note. My meager 2 years of guitar are built on a lifetime of soul. They're mistaken assuming skill is the only thing that matters. Presence intimidates people who aren't grounded. Some musicians don't know how to handle somebody who walks with humility, authority, soul, lived wisdom, and has a story in their hands. Even as a newer guitarist, your presence exposes insecurity in other people. But it also inspires the right ones, and that's why I'm doing it publicly and showing you my flaws too. Musicians with real soul, real confidence, and real love for the craft are always kind to new players. I know one. His name is Bree, and he has a YouTube channel called Improv Guitar Jams. I'm going to give you a link to the whole post coming up soon. People like Bree share their gear, they offer encouragement, they invite others to play, they celebrate growth, and they build a community. And the ones who aren't kind, well, they're still fighting battles inside themselves. So what I've learned in 2 years, after 2 years of playing guitar and a lifetime of serving, teaching, and leading, here's the truth I hold on to. Music is ministry. Music is community. Music is hospitality. If someone walks into the room with a guitar, they're not a threat. They're a story, waiting to be heard. And if you're a seasoned player, your kindness might be the thing that keeps a new musician from giving up. If you ever felt dismissed, ignored, or underestimated as a new guy, remember this. Your gift doesn't need their permission. Your voice doesn't need their validation. Your presence doesn't need their approval. So play anyway, shine anyway, tell your story anyway. The right musicians, the real ones, will recognize you immediately. Thanks for listening, downloading, and subscribing to Behind the Rose with Reverend Ken Blanchard. If you like what you heard, let me know in the comments or share it with somebody. Shalom, baby.